You're gonna be on the other Yeah, there's still some people coming in. That's cool. Very good. Well, good evening.
Hello.
And welcome all. Oh, wait, I know what I should do. I should use the microphone. Ha. Figure that, huh? That's cuss? Cuss? Not at all? Let's go Jacob. Sure.
I turned it down because Barry was jamming out.
Oh, because Barry was jamming out. Pass. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay.
Can you make it blind?
Okay, I'm gonna start over.
It's for real.
All right. First of all, slide of venue, please. First of all, I want to thank Jacob Washburn for allowing us to use this venue. I mistakenly called it Hope Friends Church in the invitation. The church rents this venue on Sundays. Can you not find it? The actual name is Countryside Venue and Events. It was supposed to be right before that one.
Over my top.
Is that better?
That's better.
All right. Anyway, this venue is called Countryside Venue and Events, and this nice spacious area is good for many kinds of events. They also have a sanctuary that's really good, weddings, and it's perfect for many kinds of events. FYI, there's a restroom right outside here and to the right. I'm pleased to have a great, are you doing okay there? He's having a hard time. That's all right. We're gonna wing this tonight, and I've always found that if we try to be perfect, it really isn't any fun. So we're going with this, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm pleased to announce that we have a great line of speakers. Some are area citizens, some are experts in their field. We have a lot of information to share this evening. We're going to try to keep it brief because we want to have at least a half hour for questions. I expect to be done at 9 p.m. Please know that this meeting is in no way a time to vent. Everyone is expected to conduct themselves respectfully. Holly, can you come on up here and introduce our first speaker, please?
Sure. Introduce yourself.
I'm Lynn.
Alrighty. First of all, thank everybody for coming out on this kind of strange weather day, but you made it. That's how I'm very pleased to see as many people here that would come out for this. How I met Paula the first time was our group gets together and rallies at the fountain, and sometimes we meet at the library for hours. And I made up a shirt when I found out about the data centers because I was very surprised that these were coming in right after the mega site. Just something else in Marshall that I didn't think was a good fit. So I made up this shirt that says Save Pure Michigan and no data centers. And it was just for fun for our little group. I wore it one day to our meeting and just for fun. And Mary or someone took a picture and it actually went viral on different sites. So that's how actually Paula, I think, saw me in this outfit and wanted to meet me or something. I was like, wow, because she's from Mason and she's a powerhouse. Paula Powerhouse is what I call her. Because she goes to so many places and does such great work, and I couldn't believe she actually acknowledged me. So that's kind of how we met, and we started talking on the phone at night, and she said she would want to come to one of our meetings if when we had something set up to do, which she's here tonight. But, so I would like to introduce my friend and fellow advocate against the takeover of data centers in Pure Michigan. She travels around the state talking to representatives, news stations, and speaks at many town meetings across Michigan to get the word out for our right to have clean water, land, and air for us and future generations. She's a fierce advocate, and we are lucky to have someone like her on our side. So let me introduce my friend, Paula Kalkbrenner.
Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
I'm here to give you hope today. So I just want to remind you that this battle is not yours, but this battle is the Lord's. And do you know what shows up in the Bible 365 times? Do not fear, fear not. And it also says in there that God hasn't given us a mind of fear, but of power, hope, and a sound mind. So I think we need to get rid of fear, and we need to start putting God first and welcome him into this town. So I'd like to start out with a prayer. You guys okay with that? Okay, so dear Jesus, we just praise you and we thank you for bringing everybody here today. And you asked us to be good stewards of the land and the soil and the air. And so tonight, Lord, we just ask you to come into this community, that you will protect the land, that you will protect this town, and that no weapon formed against Marshall will prosper, and every tongue that rises up in Jesus' mighty name will be condemned. And so, Lord, we just ask that your glory goes out across the land, that you would give these people a supernatural blueprint that only you can give, and that you would show up in this town and move these people straight out of here. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
So I grew up in Mason, and I come from, I have farming in my background. So when I drive around in the summertime and it's super hot and you smell that smell of manure, it reminds me of home. I love it. And also, I loved the roar of the tractors. I had a pig farmer that I grew up kitty corner from the back of my where I grew up as a teenager. So I really love the country. I love the farmers. Also in Mason, there's Hartwell Drilling, and that was my family that came from the UP. So when it comes to the land and it comes to water, that's in my roots. And what started me in this fight in Mason, if you stand out on the porch of my family home, the data center is going across the field. Well, it's not going to come across the field, but that's where they projected to have this. And I didn't know what a hyperscale data center was. And so we all gathered actually in the dead of winter. It was like below freezing in a barn with a wood burning stove, and that's where it all began for me. I learned about the neurological issues, the ground shaking, the noise, the vibrations, the closed loop system that really brings corrosion inhibitors, anti-scaling chemicals, heavy mineral concentrations, biocides, and glycol. And also about cancer and the PFAS, and about the wells drying up and the contamination that goes with that. So that's when I got up off the couch and I noticed, Mason was rolling out the red carpet for the data center with all of their, ordinances that they tried to put through. And what I noticed was they were really resilient in standing their ground. So then I started looking online, and I looked at Door, I looked at Marshall, I looked at what was happening in Saline, and I was like, wow, this is a well-oiled machine throughout Michigan. So I started reaching out to people, And it was like one community leader after another, and we all kind of came together. What we were finding out is we found the power of the FOIA. So you can use, so I'm gonna give you some tools in your toolbox tonight, what they've been doing across the state. So you can use the power of the FOIA to be able to get information. And so that's one thing that people have been doing across the state, and we're finding that Gaines, Lowell, and I can't remember what other community over there, but they've been bringing all of the city council people together, and even meeting back in 2024. And so then what happened is we all started trying to figure out how to stop it. Well, did you know that if they pass an ordinance, you can use the power of the referendum? What that is, as soon as they pass something, you guys know about the referendum? Okay, good. All right, so you've got that.
Oh, yeah.
They put an appropriation in.
Yeah, well, you can also do a ballot initiative, also I'm finding. You've heard,
Yeah, I don't know what a referendum is.
oh, so what a referendum does, as soon as they pass an ordinance or something that's, against the will of the people, because they work for us, what happens is you have 30 days and you can get a petition together and take it to your, oh gosh, I can't even remember, what is it, the county?
Yeah.
And then you have 30 days, but you have to give them enough time to verify all the signatures. So in Mason, we had people that lived outside the community, right? So we were all coming to the meeting, but then what happened was they were saying that the city of Mason didn't care. It's just all you outsiders that are agitators. I'm their favorite agitator, just in case you wondered. And so what happened was in 6 short days, they were able to get 800 signatures. And so what it did is it takes that and stops it, and it puts it on the ballot. So then the people can decide. So it takes it out of the tyrannical people in your city council, their power, and it puts it back in the hands of the people. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is a recall. So in the first year or the 4th year, you can't recall them, but in years 2 and 3, you can. So that's something else. So we're recalling the mayor and councilwoman Elaine Ferris over in Mason. And then of course you can use social media, and that's a great way to connect people and to bring everyone together. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit just about, the different communities. So what we found was through the, the FOIAs over in Salon Township, is they found out that there's a place called The Right Place, and it's kind of like a mini Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC. And what they've been doing behind the scenes is linking US Social, along with realtors, along with Microsoft, along with your city council members, and some of our state reps. And I've posted that online, so you can read it all. So they've been working at this for a while. And also Consumers Energy. So this is kind of what we're up against, and this is what we're finding. Also in Dorr, what happened was there was a farmer that wanted to sell his property, and he sold it for $1.3 million to Advantage Commercial Real Estate. And so he had a relative, his name was Duke Suen, he had a relative that bought the property for $1.3 million. Do you know what he did after he got the property? He turned around and sold it to Microsoft for $33 million. This is the stuff that's going on across the state. And then also in Caledonia, where I was tonight, we were at a meeting, and there was like 500 people in that room. You guys have to show up, and you guys have to do what you can to bring this community together, because there's power in numbers. The more people that Microsoft or any of these other companies see, they're watching you. They're watching you. They've been sitting in the crowds of some of these meetings. So you gotta bring signs that say no data center or no Microsoft or whatever it is that you're up against. It's very important that you tell your neighbors and all of your friends about this. So back to my story. Forgot where I was at. It was the real estate company. Caledonia. So last night in Caledonia, they wouldn't let us first speak about the data centers. They said you could talk about anything else. So I got up there, I talked about how their whole board, because we found out through the FOIAs, had signed NDAs. And then I let them know about the FOIAs. And then I looked over and I had noticed from going to the Gaines Microsoft meeting, I saw all of them sitting over there in the corner. And you know who was sitting behind them? Consumers Energy. I called it out in the meeting and let them know. And they were doing a presentation last night. So what happened was there were so many people that spoke. That's why your voice is so important, because the people really do have the power. They don't want you to know that. And what happened was there were so many people that spoke, the Planning Commission was not educated. So there were some things that were said, and what happened was what they wanted to do in the Planning Commission is Microsoft did a presentation. The Planning Commission then would vote on it, and then it goes to the council. What happened was it got tabled because of everybody that spoke up. So that's what happened. And of course, we are putting all of them on social media. So if they're data center lovers, we want to make sure Michigan knows it. And so this brings me to the next thing is also the state. Right now, Steve Cara, I had it up here, of course it went away, give me 2 ticks here. He's been running some testimonies at the state level. So I wanted to let you know, this is very, very important because your state reps are not taking this seriously. There's some that are for the data centers and some that are against. And so next Wednesday, April 22nd, in room 236 of the Anderson House office building, it begins at 10:30, but we need all of Michigan to show up. We need all of you, if you can make it. It's very important because all of your reps and everybody that's up there is going to watch and see how serious we are in Michigan about this. We need to do a gridlock in Lansing and get everybody down there. So that's really, really important. You can also sign up to testify. And I'll let you know, they had one pro for the data center this last week. They had one guy that was on the Planning Commission in Gaines that spoke. So he's the only one in Michigan that's excited about these data centers, apparently. So the other thing is too, DTE was doing bus trips down to New Albany, Ohio, which is Data Center Alley. And so they've been taking our state reps down there, they've been taking different council members down there. And so with Steve Cara, what I wanted to say, he is part of the oversight subcommittee on corporate subsidies and state investments. What we're finding is that Consumers Energy, DTE, right, and I guess the utility companies, they're taking our money, our rates, and what they're doing is they are partnering with the data centers. So in that meeting, guess who was sitting behind Microsoft? Consumers Energy, and I called it out. So that's part of it, is they're working tandem together. When I went to that Microsoft meeting that they had in Gaines, because they're your friendly neighbor, guess who was there? Our utility company, Consumers Energy. Because what has happened is that they're lining the pockets of all of our state reps. And it's both Democrat and Republican. We only have 10 people that didn't take any money. And more so with that, there was a newspaper article, because there's something called Mop Up Michigan. They're doing petitions. They need 100,000 signatures. And what this is going to do is this is going to not let our utility companies give money to our politicians. So Governor Whitmer took $550,000. You heard me right. And you know what? The Speaker of the House, Matt Hall, $750,000. So do you see, so we just had a rate increase. So all these data centers are like, no, we're gonna pay our own way, right? No, they're doing these rate hikes right now. Right now they're doing these rate hikes across Michigan. And it's because it's all in tandem, they're all working together. So the right wing and the left wing is one big ugly bird, and guess what? We're not part of the coop. That's why we all have to fight back and not let this happen. So the other part about DTE, Consumers Energy, the other thing that they're doing down where I live in Lansing is they are building these power lines and all of this stuff like shoelaces all the way through with eminent domain and all of that because they're trying to prepare for the data centers. And in some of those emails, There's a group called US Signal. That's where our state reps and the right place and all of them are working together. They're trying to make it so we are green, this data center place in Grand Rapids. So they're partnering with the solar farms with the data centers. So do you see how big this is, this whole structure? They've been working on this. We found it on Mason's website back in 2024, working with the utility companies. So let that sink in. This is why your voice matters. And then we went to their website. We happened to take screenshots by the grace of God, and because we couldn't believe what we were finding. And then guess what? They took it down. But guess who has the receipts? Your No Data Center News does. So this is just all of the things you got to watch them around every turn. And this is why Mop Up Michigan, looks like he's got some petitions over here, is so important to sign, because I'm sorry, but the monopoly of the utility companies should never, ever, ever be lining their pockets with our money to buy their votes to raise our rates off our backs and off of our dollars. Does that make sense?
Amen. Amen.
So Tom Leonard, who's running for governor, he was Speaker of the House, and he was trying to stop this a long time ago, and he had spoken last night. And DT, I guess Consumers was there, and they harassed him in the hall. And they were trying to say, no, it's not you. You know, it's not us. We're not doing it. It's our stakeholders. And Tom looked at him, and he's like, where do you think the money came from? It didn't fall out of the sky. It's all of us. So that's why it's important that we take these steps necessary. They also will use PACs. They'll also use different people to funnel money to get it to our city councils. So that's kind of a state view of what we've been seeing, what we've been able to reveal. And that's why all of you, I know you've got friends, I know you have family, possibly other people in your house, even little kids, bring them to the council meetings. You guys all have to show up, and you need to let everybody know how serious this is. Because this is pure Michigan, and this is not a dumping ground for big tech. Does anybody have any questions, anything?
Well, go ahead. How are the battery, we have some going on, a new one proposed in Congress Township, we have one in Marshall Township, the battery storage facilities, how are they linked to, are they linked to the data centers and the solar panels?
Well, what I found was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Goshen, which I hear you are, but Lori's a good friend of mine, and I'm sure you've heard about all the contaminants and things like that with the lithium and all of that stuff. I just found out in Rives Junction that they just put one of these in too. So it seems like, so I'll let you know, Chuck China Thalen, right? Does that name sound familiar? Chuck Thalen from Goshen, the vice president? Guess who his cousin is?
Is that Goshen?
Yeah, guess who Chuck
Jim.
Chuck Thalen from Goshen, his cousin is Randy Thalen, that's with the right place, that's orchestrating all of this. Let that sink in. So, yeah. Question?
Yeah, early on, you said you had, you said, I have this, I've looked all this stuff up, I posted it somewhere, you can read this. Can you tell me what?
Oh, yeah.
Was it a website?
Is it
It's
Hoyas?
it's about Steve Cara.
Are you talking about the speaking?
It was right behind when you said something about FOIA. Then you said there was, let's see. Then you talked about a recall, and then you said, I found all this information and I posted it, you can read it.
Oh, so I think that was the FOIAs. So,
Okay.
yeah, and so if you go to, I think it's Salon Township, and I have, Solon, it's Cedar Rapids. That's another group that's fighting. And so those are the ones that have been getting these FOIAs, and it's on their website, but I know I've posted it on your page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you look up mining, and you can click on that, I also run No Data Centers in Michigan. So I started a PAC for that to help fight these different communities, because that aquifer, I don't care if you live in Marshall, Mason, Dorr, Gaines, that aquifer is under our feet. And when these big companies, and also another thing that's important to say is in Gaines, Their municipal water, guess where that pulls from? Lake Michigan. Comes from Lake Michigan, and that's the water that they want. So that's another thing to think about. So when they pull up this water, that and they do the cooling, they have to be, and I asked Microsoft this, and they admitted this. What happens is they have blowdown where they have to get rid of everything, and basically, I mean, if you think about our treatment plants, even if they say it's going through that, you can't even flush a Prozac in the toilet without it getting in the water system. What do you think they're gonna do with all these chemicals, with these corrosion inhibitors, anti-scaling chemicals, heavy mineral contaminants, biocides, or concentration, biocides and glycol? That's why when you look across the United States and you see people getting cancer and you see them talking about PFAS and all of this, it's important to pay attention. Because we're all gonna drink that water. So I don't wanna go swimming in Lake Michigan in a hazmat suit, how about you?
Does the MPSC, are they kind of in bed with
Yes.
facilities and with the government agencies?
Yes.
They don't seem to be doing anything.
No.
For ratepayers.
And Eagle's not either. So I'll let you know about Eagle. You wanna know what happened over in Saline Township? That whole thing went to court, right? Guess what Eagle's doing? They're letting all of that toxic sludge I just talked about, and instead of, doing the right thing with it, they're having them dump it right into the river that goes out to our Great Lakes. I have the document.
Taylor, how often do they blow down the system? Is it like
I'm not
daily?
sure.
Quarterly?
That's a great question. And they were
It's not
trying.
all the time, it's certain times,
Yeah.
monthly, quarterly.
And I'll let you know, last night when Microsoft was there, that was one of their questions, I'm pretty sure, and they couldn't answer it. And they asked about the noise too, because of the decibels, and they asked about that, and he said, oh, I'm not sure, and then he said, well, we have a department that does testing, so I'll get back to you. I don't know about you, but I believe in third-party testing, right? I don't want somebody doing their own testing.
You've been to a data center before, I take it?
No, I
you
haven't, but I've heard the noise.
Well, the noise, I was wondering about the light.
Yes, they're
What I
on
heard is if you
24/7.
Live close enough, you'll never see a star in the sky again.
Probably not. I do know, I know Tammy Clark and Kristen Megan Kelly, the ones they're actually testifying all over the nation in different places. So I think they were, I can't remember where they were testifying. They're coming back into state, but she said that if you're in your room, it's almost like the lights are on if it's right there. So just things to be aware of, and that's why we need people to speak out, But I'm telling you, this is not our battle. This is God's battle.
You mentioned No Data Center News. Is that a website?
No, that's just what I say when I do my little videos on Facebook. Yeah. One more question.
You started a Facebook page for the state of Michigan for no data centers, or is?
No, there's a large one, and I think it's
Citizens Against.
Michigan Citizens Against the Data Centers, and then I just started, no data centers in Michigan, just to kind of push more information in different avenues in case.
Is Edra involved also?
Who?
Edra?
That's Marjorie's thing.
Yeah, she's helping.
Yeah,
They'll be
Yeah.
showing up next Wednesday too. Tara's here.
And I wanted you guys to also know, that just brought on a light bulb, I just can't remember what it was though. Oh gosh, I'm a little tired. But, the thing is that a lot of these bills are being stuck in committee for a while. And guess who decides what bills come out of committee?
No.
The Speaker of the House, which would be Matt Hall, the one I told you that got $750,000 from the utility companies. So it's important that we have to turn up pressure on these people to do the right things to stop the corruption.
How do you find this information where like he got $750,000?
Oh, it was in a newspaper article that I posted.
Oh,
It
okay.
was in the State Journal.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a freedom of information thing or.
Yeah, nope, it was in the newspaper. Great question.
Or isn't there a Facebook page, is Michigan Against Data Centers, isn't there a group that
There's a big group and I'm sure.
There's 4 or 5.
Holly, why don't you post,
Yeah.
post maybe some of them on your page so
I
people
know
can
all of
find
them,
it.
I read all of them all the time.
How do you get your city council to respond to your FOIA emails?
That's a great question, because in Mason, you know what we did? We walked in there with our camera, we had the clerk right there, we asked her all the right questions, we got her on video, and what you gotta do is you gotta post it on social media for everybody to see when they're not following the law. So, we also are talking to an attorney, because we have FOIAs in Mason from December. So, we've been talking to an attorney, and then you have to do fundraising in your community to get funds to help with that. The other thing that's important too is with those FOIAs is you can also, what we did is we got the list of FOIAs, right? And we read everything in the status. And we put it out there so people could hear what they're doing because it just puts more pressure for the recall when you want to recall them. So you can get an attorney to fight it, and you can also put pressure socially on people.
Channel 3 just
Channel
arrived.
3.
Just arrived. Finally.
Yeah.
See something really cool when they come.
Yeah.
Marshall Township with the Blue Oak Battery Factory, when the citizenry were fighting it, Marshall police literally arrested people and closed down when they violated the Open Meetings Act. So have you run into that?
Yeah, you gotta be careful, because I'm pretty mouthy, and yeah, I've gotten away with a lot, but yeah, if you'll bail me out, if they get me somewhere, I would really appreciate it.
Is there any tips for how to?
Yeah, you gotta just, when they're talking, you can't talk, your time is with the open meetings. So you just gotta adhere to that, and then you can go on social media and take clips. Another great thing that you can do is while they're talking, all of our city meetings, I record them and put it online so everybody can watch. That's how, you just have to get it out to as many people and reach as far as possible, if that makes sense. But back to the FOIAs, the other thing that you can do is you can FOIA the list of their bills. We had 150 pages of all of their bills, so you can see what they've spent on, and it tells a story, right? So it'll tell you who they're talking to, who they've paid, and where the money trail is, because that'll show you who they're talking to. And there was something else that you can do, is you can do a ballot initiative for the, I'm trying to think, oh gosh, I can't remember, but like a ballot initiative to change their charter and do an amendment. So that's another thing that we're exploring and trying to figure out, another tool in the toolbox. So you just gotta throw everything at the wall and see what happens, so. Any other questions before we get to the next speaker? Am I good on time?
No, you're a little over on time. I was wishing the news would be in here. We're gonna do a little switch around in the schedule, because Amanda can only stay for a short time.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna have Amanda and Jerry next.
Perfect, well, I'll introduce Amanda, and she'll be up here to speak.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the next person, and two people that I want to introduce are Dury, it's Parker, right? Dury Parker and Amanda. And Amanda Jean is from where? Jackson. So we met at the rally in Lansing last weekend, and I wanted so badly to hear every part of her presentation, because I, as an educator, love the brain, and I know that all of this sound frequency will have an impact on the brain. So without any further ado, Dury and Amanda.
Good evening. I was asked to address the health issues, which seemed logical given my background, and what I found was disturbing. I've worked in the healthcare system since 1978, first as a respiratory therapist, and then later on as a cardiac sonographer. the health concerns with the data center
They
are
can't hear in the back. I'm sorry, hold on. They can't hear in the back.
primarily stemming from
Hold on,
air,
just stop.
noise,
We wanna-
and water
Wait,
pollution.
Larry, we want to hear what you have to say. Jacob's gonna come in and help us with the sound, because the ones in the back can't hear it. You gotta, yeah, it's all right, I just want them to be able to hear what you say. What you got to say is important information.
Go ahead.
Check and see if I've got it.
Check, check. So start from the beginning?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so my background in health, I was asked to speak on health issues. So my background is in healthcare system. I first started in 1978 as a respiratory therapist, then later on as a cardiac sonographer. The health concerns with the data center are plentiful, primarily stemming from air, noise, and water pollution. I will be addressing the first two. Data centers with gas-powered generators emit a multitude of dangerous pollutants, such as carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, greenhouse gases, along with sulfur dioxide, which contributes to smog and acid rain. Nitrogen dioxide can cause respiratory infections and exacerbate existing lung conditions like asthma. Studies show that air pollution from these data centers can contribute to premature death as well. Fine particulate matter with particles less than 10 micrometers getting deep into your lungs and even into your bloodstream, per the Environmental Protection Agency. Then there's the cancer risk. The cooling and fire suppression systems use forever chemicals, or PFAS, which have been linked to leukemia, thyroid, and digestive cancers, along with liver damage, low sperm quality, and a reduced immune response, again, per the EPA. And I want you to take note that the people who are at most risk from air pollution are children, developing fetuses, pregnant women, the elderly, and individuals with chronic respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. Then last but not least, the noise and light pollution. The continuous hum from the massive HVAC systems, cooling fans, and generators can exceed 90 decibels, with a 40 to 55 decibel noise being normal ambient noise. So like if you were in an office setting or a conversation. And a 30 decibel noise being recommended by the World Health Organization for uninterrupted sleep. So a 90 decibel noise over time can cause hearing loss, stress, insomnia, hypertension, and increased heart rate, along with impairing one's cognitive function, especially in children and adolescents per the EPA, Environmental Health Project, and UC Davis's Center for Occupational and Environmental Health. And again, of note, there are 2 schools within the 2-mile radius, the Marshall Academy and Hughes Elementary. Now I'm going to have Amanda speak to the cognitive function issue, and then I'll take it back.
Thank you, Dory. I appreciate you're the first person I heard speaking about the health impact of this, and I want to thank the crowd for. Sorry, do I not hand up again?
Can you hear okay?
Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Thank you so much for being flexible in scheduling so that I can get to my 8 o'clock virtual. An aspect of generative AI that I don't hear enough people talking about in the general population is cognitive atrophy. Cognitive atrophy is a reduction in active thinking. Just like muscle atrophy is the reduction in muscle tissue and muscle capacity, when we don't use our muscles. If you're in a cast for a long time, your muscles weaken. Our children's brains are not only weakening, our adult brains are weakening, our children's brains are being rewired in a negative way because of AI and the social media that runs all of this AI. Sorry, I lost my point here. This decrease in active thinking weakens neural connectivity, working memory, long-term memory, and analytical skills. Think about it. With the rise of smartphones, how many numbers, telephone numbers, do each of you have off the top of your head? How does that compare to 20 or 30 years ago, right? Okay, I'm 45. I could probably give you 4 phone numbers off the top of my head. 30 years ago, I could give you at least 20, if not 30, off the top of my head, okay? And I didn't grow up with AI. Our kids are. Even more frightening is the impact that the addictive qualities of generative AI and social media is having on our young people. As an educator with 21 years experience, I see this every day. I teach high school. I see it every day. Timothy Cook writes in Psychology Today that while adults are experiencing a decreased capacity for active thinking, our children may not be building any of these skills at all. This is foreclosure, and it may not be reversible. By relying heavily on AI, young people are not developing the auditing skills necessary to engage in critical thinking and analysis. They are not developing the neural pathways for evaluating evidence and constructing arguments. As Cook says, the adults are offloading tasks that they already know how to do. The youth are utilizing AI to complete tasks they've never learned to do. The downside of adult offloading is people get less sharp. We don't remember as many phone numbers, all kinds of things like that. The downside of adolescents growing up delegating to AI is a generation that was never sharp to begin with. Protecting the space our children need to develop the foundational skills of thinking is now a non-negotiable. A team of researchers at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, conducted research and released 216 pages of their findings in 2025. This team looked at essay writing and divided the participants into 3 groups: exclusive use of AI, utilization of search engines, and brain power only. They used EEG brain imaging to map the brain activity as participants composed each of 4 essays. This mapping identified the amount of neural activity and output happening while in the process of writing. They found that the group writing only using their brains showed the strongest brain activity, plus better memory recall of what they wrote after the fact. Natalia Kasmina, the lead author in the study, was interviewed by CNN. In that interview, she had the following to say about the final session of the study. She said, "We actually reassigned the participants in the very end during that last session. So what happened was very interesting. The group of people who were assigned to use AI for the first 3 essay writing portions were then asked to recompose one of their previous essays using only their own brain. And the people who were using their own brain for the first 3 were then allowed to use technology. And what they found was that the people who used AI, and then had to use their brain at the end to write the essay actually showed weaker neural connectivity compared to the brain-only folks. And those who first used the brain, so brain, and then AI, actually showed high neural connectivity. This indicates that the use of AI is not always detrimental. However, this increased neural activity occurs when people use AI to enhance their work after already having the skills necessary to perform the task to begin with. The researchers also found that those exclusively utilizing AI could not distinguish what was generated for them and what was their own thought to begin with. They couldn't tell the difference. I don't know about you, but that scares me. Not only does overuse of AI have neurological implications, there are psychological and philosophical risks. Humans are becoming more and more dependent on AI. It is adapting to our behavior, it's fun to interact with, and is very accommodating towards humans. This leads to many negative impacts for those who overuse this tool. It can lead to social isolation, disengagement, and negative self-thoughts. This is seen in a downward spiral in mental health of regular users. AI has even been found to have made suggestive comments to users, pointing them towards self-harm. The philosophical risk is a standardization of thought, which results in a decrease in human creativity. Roxanne, a researcher in France at Pasteur University, states that to protect ourselves from these risks, we have to actively engage our critical thinking and continue to exercise our neural pathways. Overuse of generative AI is literally changing how brains are forming their neurological pathways. The dendrites and synapses that carry information throughout our brain and send it the rest of our body. The brain is in a never-ending cycle of losing neurological connections and creating new ones throughout our entire lives. In high school, a very wise teacher once told me, Amy Goldsmith, if anybody's from Hillsdale County, told me, and it was supported by research from Harvard, but I don't recall the study because that was 30 years ago, that when we learn something new, our brain creates dendrites. The more dendrites we have, the easier it is to learn something new. So this is like lifting weights or doing any other kind of exercise. The more you work muscles, the easier it is to perform the task in future workouts. This is why it's important to continually work our most important muscle, the brain. I have a little bit more, but it's really just about responsible use. We need to prevent all of the environmental, the health hazards, all of that. But also, we need to make sure that our lawmakers are regulating. They're not regulating what's going back into our environment. They're not regulating the conditions, the decibels, all of the stuff that Jerry spoke to. They also need to start regulating the actual AI. This is killing our kids' brains. I do have an 8 o'clock virtual engagement, but I will leave my email if anybody wants a link to my document with all of my resources cited. Just send me an email and I'm happy to share that with you. And Laura also has that contact from me. Thank you very much for allowing me
So we will definitely provide her email information for you on our webpage, on our Facebook webpage. So just to finish up with the light issues, disruption of one's circadian rhythm from light pollution at these hyperscale facilities disrupts one's sleep patterns, causing insomnia and fatigue. Think about how the time changes affect you, the spring forward and the fall back. I know at least for me, it takes me at least a couple days to kind of adjust to that. As you can see, these health concerns are significant and must not be taken lightly. So never stop seeking the truth. Our children and community are depending on us. If you're wondering what you could do, I would suggest writing your city council members and voice your concerns, as well as attending city meetings, which we post on our Facebook page, Save Michigan, Small Towns, Marshall Edition. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming to this community meeting. Collectively, we can make a difference in keeping our town and surrounding communities safe. I don't know who's next,
They were looking for Amanda's phone.
Yeah, that's kind of funny now, isn't it? That's kind of funny. No. So our next speaker is going to be Dave Fainer. Dave served on the Brooks Nature Area for 19 years, on the Parks and Rec for 12 years, on the Marshall Area Conservation Committee for 18 years, This is a man with a lifetime of experience in environmental stewardship. You go, Dave. Woo!
Many of you know me from the Brooks Nature area. Matter of fact, some of you have served with me. Not sure what kind of crowd we're going to have tonight, so we're going to talk a little bit about what the Brooks Nature area is and all about. Like I said, I've served 19 years, retiring last year. And to me, we're one of the crown jewels of Make Marshall Marshall. It's 190 acres of different kinds of ecosystems. The park just turned 20 years old this month, and I think the board is going to have something probably starting around May to help celebrate that 20 years. We're probably one of the few, or maybe the only city to ever have a 10-year agreement with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and also with USDA with the Conservation Reserve Program. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife team out of East Lansing came out, planted 84 acres of prairie forest, which turned farmland into wildlife habitat, which made us qualify then for the USDA and the Conservation Reserve Program, which put monies in the coffer. We have approximately 2.5 miles of trails, a very diverse ecosystem. Besides the 84 acres of prairie, have approximately 0.8 of a mile of shoreline on Stewart Lake. Most of that shoreline is all marsh grasses and cattails, which makes great waterfowl reproduction and bedding. We have swans, sandhills, mallards, geese, and a couple of wood duck houses at Woody's. And I think I just saw where Michigan made the wood duck our state duck now. Not that we needed one, but I guess we have one. We have several small wetlands throughout the property that in the spring, the keepers and croakers are out making some noise. A lot of turtles. Along the lake shore, we have an old growth forest with trees that are somewhere between 200 to 300 years old. And the city once in a while has a thing in the cemetery saying if these stones could talk, imagine if some of those trees could talk. You're going back, now that one red oak out there has got to be at least 250 to 300 years old. Imagine what that red oak has seen in its lifetime. That would be just amazing. We've had eight Eagle Scout projects out there and 3 Girl Scout Gold Awards, which is equal to the Eagle Scout project. The pavilion and the restroom, which to me is like major Eagle Scout projects. The Marshall Area Garden Club, we've been out there, a really nice sign right by the pavilion that was given to us by the Marshall Area Garden Club. And anytime you walk the park and you see benches and any kind of signage, that's all from the Scouts. I mean, the Scouts have done just wondrous things out there for us. We currently have about 40 nesting boxes out there that we maintain. Most of them are for bluebirds and wrens, but the tree swallows probably use 2/3 or more of the bluebird houses. And if you ever opened a house and saw a tree swallow nest, they pick flower or feathers out from other birds that line their nests with those feathers. Remember one of the first years that we had the houses and we were cleaning them up for the year. Ben Lark and I were cleaning them out. One of the first houses was a tree swallow nest. Inside that nest was a side pockets of a male wood duck. Yeah. So if you never saw a male wood duck out there, but you still know there's woodies out there because there the feathers were. We've had eagles, osprey, blue heron, red-tailed hawks, barred owls, frequenting the park. In the late fall, a couple of times we've counted the sandhills that come in out there on that shoreline. We've counted between 600 and 800 sandhills. And the noise out there is fantastic. You hear them coming from miles away. One of our board members and one of his friends, which is a biology professor at University of Michigan, I don't know if you know it, but just south of the park, just in Upper Brace Lake, they discovered a prairie fen, which is a very, very diverse ecosystem all to itself. And they're right now starting to catalog all the different plants and things that they found out there. They're things that you would never see anywhere else but in a fen. And there's a butterfly called the Mitchell's satyr, and it's a federally endangered butterfly, also a Michigan endangered butterfly, and it has a very small range from northern Indiana to lower Michigan, southern Michigan, and it has one place that stays in this fence, prairie fence, so there's a chance maybe we have an endangered butterfly out there, which would be nice. The LFA has signed an agreement with a company that's interested in data center out there. If it would come to fruition, unfortunately, it'd be a Brooks Nature next door neighbor would butt right up against the park. And when the city extended that park 22, 23 years ago, they completely destroyed a wetland which had to be rebuilt at 1.5 times its size. It was rebuilt somewhere, I believe, in Jackson County. The property they're looking at has many, many wetlands. So if they did want to develop that, of course, it would have to be up to Eagle, but unfortunately, the deep pockets of getting more nods in the environment when it comes to Eagle anymore. They'd be destroying quite a few wetlands, and definitely not a good thing. I don't know if they've talked to the other factories that are out there and got their blessing before they signed that, but if I was Jiffy and Drake's Batter Mix making a product that you eat, I'd be kind of worried about the cross-contamination, either from the building site or once it happened to be built. We don't want it to be built, but if it was, the little particles they were talking about going through the air. And with the noise traveling over water a lot faster and louder than it does over land, anybody out at Stewart Lake, I'm afraid, will probably, instead of a chorus of peepers and croakers or sandhills, we hear the noise sound like a lawnmower running by your window 24/7. So, and the light too could be a big factor. I'm not sure how brilliant the light is, but I know, like I say, what I read is if you live close enough, you'll never see the stars again. One thing too with the data center, they don't hire many people. 15, 20 people would probably be a big hire for them. And I don't know what the shelf life is on a data center, but with rapid technology changing all the time, there's going to be a time if they do build that, the lights someday will be turned off, they'll exit stage left, and the city of Marshall will be stuck with this huge slab of cement with a building on it, and probably never be developed or used again. So to me, in the long run, the city of Marshall is walking over a $5 bill to pick up the little nickel. And I want to close with a Native American proverb. When the last tree has been cut down, the last fish has been caught, the last human has been poisoned, then and only then will you realize you can't eat money. Thank you.
This fight against the data center is really hard. And there's a lot of difficulty in it, but there's also the joy of meeting some very cool people. And I had the privilege of starting just a matter of weeks ago meeting Laura Valentine, and I'm gonna tell you what, she's a powerhouse. She's a powerhouse. She comes into our group and she is just doing great things. I know she said she would introduce herself, but I just think Laura's all that.
Thank you. Wow. I'm gonna set my timer because I don't wanna go over. I know we are getting close. Okay, can you hear me? All right. My name is Laura Valentine. I am a local artist and muralist, a professional Michigan certified teacher. I am certified K-12 art, K-9 in sciences, and all subjects K-5. I am no expert on water usage or wastewater management, but I did study geology, meteorology, and physics. And I love to paint water. So in my 32 years of substitute teaching and full-time teaching in many school districts of Southwest Michigan, as well as my 14 years in working in food service, I know about commingling and cross-contamination and water. I know that when you put sound into water, water has memory. From some science experiments I did with my students, we used to put sound into the water and then freeze it. Or we'd speak things to it and freeze it. And depending on what you say to the water, it has a different crystalline structure. So, I understand how vital water, clean water, is to every school, every business, every home, and every community. Water can make or break you. My favorite subject, as I said, is to paint water. I painted the big mural at the Free Range Pancake House with the river, the Nottawassee River, and I painted that. That was that. I have a lot of Michigan coastal paintings. So in my studies of science, these are the things I know. Water is powerful, water is life, water is health. Our body is 60 to 73% water. Our brain is 73% water. Our heart is 73% water. Our lungs, believe it or not, are 83% water. Our muscles are 79% water. Our kidneys are 79% water. Our skin is 64% water. And our bones are 31% water. Our planet Earth is 71% water. Our state of Michigan is 41% water, almost half. The Great Lakes states, all of the states in Canada around, hold 21% of the globe's fresh water as inland seas. The Great Lakes states holds 84% of America's surface fresh water. We have the source. However, only 1% of Great Lakes is renewable each year from precipitation and inflow. Between 40 to 75% of Great Lakes residents depend on groundwater, not the lakes, for drinking water, and many Great Lakes residents are already experiencing groundwater shortages. The concern is not that the Great Lakes will run dry, but that the local communities, especially rural ones, could face lower water tables, depleted water wells, and reduced stream flows that affects health, nearby ecosystems like the wetlands. Our Kalamazoo River flows from Hillsdale County through Homer. I teach in Homer, Albion, Marshall, Battle Creek, Kalamazoo. I've taught in all of those. Oh my goodness. And all the way to Saugatuck, where it flows into Lake Michigan. We are responsible for the waters we enjoy. We are responsible to keep them clean now and for the future. When you talk to your city council, you need to tell them that, remind them that, that's what we elected them to do. This watershed of the Kalamazoo River has a vast impact on the land, the aquatic life, the birds, the wildlife, the residents, the businesses, especially Jiffy Mix and Drake Mix, and the entire ecosystem for 2,225 square miles. That's about 3.6% of Michigan's land surface. What we allow to impact the Kalamazoo watershed or to build up over time will directly impact the property values, the farms, the animals, the businesses along the watershed who depend on a clean water source, especially those animals, and fishing. Contaminants such as PCBs have been a concern and are on the improving side. Heavy metals such as biocides raise concerns, but heavy metals raise more concerns. I'm sorry, I reread that. Okay. What will downflushing of water from data centers, overheated heavy metals and biocides, such as lithium, kind of from the Ford, I think I learned that our city council thinks that the water from the Ford Blue Oval and the data center will be filtered together, and then, yeah. So what will the lithium, copper, zinc, lead, and cadmium, and chromium being flushed into those aquifers due to our recently improving contaminant numbers? We just got over that Enron, and now we're planning this. Who is more aware of heavy metals and fish than the Kalamazoo Watershed Council? My sister, who was a nanny for somebody who walked around in waders all through the state, he worked for the Kalamazoo Watershed Council, and that's pretty much all he ever talked about was heavy metals in the fish. Due to the copper tubing, welding, stainless steel construction of the cooling system, data centers have a load of heavy metals, biocide salts, that become concentrated and needed to be downflushed into the aquifers, where the municipal water treatment centers typically fail at a high rate at removing the metals. They can remove organics, but unless they have that bladder structured system, they're not going to be removing those heavy metals. We had an upgrade, I looked that up, but I didn't see any bladder system that traps the heavy metals. So after doing that and flushing it in, there will be a heavy metals buildup that will occur over time. How much water do large data centers like the 1.4 megawatt data center that's proposed at Stewart Lake use? I looked this up, and this is not a secret. It's not something we can't answer and get back to. It's all over. It's all over. I printed out 10 large documents, 1.3 to 5 million gallons a day, or the equivalent of 15,000 water needs of 15,000 homes water usage. Marshall currently has around 3,206 homes, and that is by Choose Marshall and the Census Reporter of 2024. At this rate and scale, even minor impurities will build up and accumulate and potentially cause harm, especially in the area where the wastewater is downflushed. At such volumes, that's too much. To close with a question, is placing a 1.4 gigawatt data center in this location a safe, good, and prosperous move for Marshall City's council to make?
No.
We have to tell them
get 12 friends to come and show up and tell them, because if they don't see in large numbers how vital this is to our life and our welfare, they're going to rule it on May 2nd, is what I heard whispers about. May 2nd, probably in an undisclosed location. I'm just thinking. But we have April 20th and show up. I talk way too long. So, okay, I'm gonna give
Oh,
my
you
back
ready
to
to the top right there?
I don't know.
She just stopped right there. So, our next speaker is Barry Wayne Adams. And he has been living here in the Marshall area for 30 years. And something he does really good is he works on building construction and historical buildings that are your like, whew. So, give it up for Barry.
Yes, that was my short biography. I'm Barry Wayne Adams. Came into Marshall back in 1990. I worked with Ray Leonard well drilling, where I was able to sink some wells using the cable tool method, which is the environmentally safe method, and it does not cross-contaminate between aquifer levels as does the rotary tool method, which is what had happened over in Verona at the Verona well site, where they were in such a rush to get the water going for the loop for the mega site that they cross-contaminated aquifers. And these are the kind of oops things that have been happening that there's no take-backs on. And this is why I'm here to talk about stewardship and the need to recognize our responsibility as a species to preserve nature and the environment. This kind of stuff. This stuff is more important than the images, the moving images on our smartphones. Stewardship actually goes back to a biblical principle, the principle of dominion, that we were assigned dominion over the land and the sea and the air and all the animals and the plants. And we have to take on this responsibility. If we destroy the Nature Center, the data center will destroy the Brooks Nature Center. It will denature the Nature Center. The sound will push all the wildlife out. And it's only serviceable for like 15 years or so. And then typically we see the companies that are running it will just leave it and leave the mess for us to clean up. I've got children, I've got grandchildren, and when you do a little bit of research on what the real purposes of these data centers are, they're not so much about our high school kids being able to cheat on their English essay or making, ridiculous memes and funny videos. The major purpose of this will be surveillance, tracking everything you do, everything you say, all of your business transactions, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever. This is part of something, if you want to do your own research, do research on Peter Thiel and Palantir and Larry Ellison and Oracle. As we found out in our trying to ascertain information about this Altera development who's supposedly going to be putting in the data center. The CEO is a James Jarvis, who, according to his LinkedIn page, is connected with Microsoft and Oracle. So we're seeing that there's a strategy out there that's pervading across the nation, because just in the past couple of weeks we've got connected with no data center type Facebook pages across the country. This is a nationwide problem. And we've been finding out it's the same set of strategies coming in, doing a lot of underhanded dealings before the public get full notice about what's happening. Being brought before township and city councils that are unresponsive to the actual voice of the people and the local community. But this is where we have to take a stand, and I want to thank all you people for showing up. I want to thank Paula for having made it, and Amanda, Dury and Laura's astute presentations. But Paula was correct in her observation that this is part of a struggle, actually a war of the highest magnitude. And this is part of the weaponry that is trying to be installed by the powers that don't want you to have a life of freedom and the ability to live your life as you see fit. I'm in Adams. My family gave this country 2 presidents. We don't like being slaves. And this whole data center technological imposition that's happening across the state. There are already over 50 proposed data centers, all with strong opposition from the locals. But prevention is worth a pound of cure, and also prevention is worth a pound of cure. And there's going to be a city council meeting Monday night. Please come down and let them know that you don't want this to happen. It will completely destroy the property values around Stewart Lake. And nobody will want to live there after that thing is put in there, and it hums and it hums and it hums and it hums. So, in America, the political power is all inherent in the people. That's in the Michigan Constitution, Article 1, Section 1. But the power of the people means nothing unless it is asserted. And we all are Americans, whether we like it or not. The system at large wants us to fall into a state of political lethargy and apathy to the things that have been happening, and respond with resignation rather than outrage. But we have to do what we have to do. And I encourage all of you to do more than just come and sit in a chair. I mean, come on down, you gotta have your voice be heard. We will be placing on the Facebook pages right now we found that there was one community that stopped a data center by having a letter writing campaign to the developer. So we have found out the address of Altera Development finally. When it comes to this whole Altera Development contract with the LDFA, there are serious legal questions as to legitimacy, but that's something we'll have to take on down the line. But right now, we have to put our foot down and show the city council that we're not going to tolerate this kind of manifest injury to the land, the people. So I encourage all of you to do that. So I'm done with my venting. There was not supposed to be any venting, but I ended up doing it. Okay, so it's my great pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Now we've been protesting down at the fountain now for about 3 years, and if you've been passing by the fountain on the west end on Saturday between 12 and 2, you'll see me and Holly Herndon, the noted Holiday Holly, protesting now. She is, when it comes to political activism, she is the bulldog in the junkyard. And the past couple of years I've had the distinct, fortunate opportunity to be able to spend a lot of time with her. And my relationship with her is something that I value very much, and something that I wouldn't want to have go to the wayside. All right.
First of all, thank you for still staying. This is a long meeting. I know it's getting dark and it's getting late. Again, a lot of important speakers and people here. To just give you an idea, I do, like Barry said, it's not just a Marshall problem. It is something that's all over Michigan and somewhat the United States. A lot of concern. So there are groups, there are many, many groups that are against data centers, and I can hook you up on a lot of them. We have our own pages in Marshall that say Small Town Marshall, Michigan is one, and Preserve Historic Marshall is another. But there are so many data center sites out there that are really good, and I got in contact with most all of them. Back about a month ago, there was a rally in Howell, Michigan. I was lucky enough to have one of my friends, Kelly, take me to that rally, and we met some of the people that actually ran the big site that's called Citizens of Michigan Against Data Centers. It was great. There were some people running for mayor that were there. Channel 3 News came out, so I got on Channel 3. Talked to Rachel Fulton. And our take here is mostly the wetlands. So if you saw some of those pictures, Barry, can you put that back up? The Lynn Slight is our artist here for making the signs. She does wonderful signs for all these things that we've been protesting for many years. Very artistic, and a lot of people have no data center signs, that's a given. But hers, because of the Brooks Nature Center, we had saved, preserve the wetlands. And she did a beautiful picture of that. So when I go to different places, I try to take that sign and put it out. And on the other side is the No Data Center, logo. But after Howell, just about another week or so ago, there was a national rally for all of Michigan, and it was for Traverse City, Ann Arbor, Detroit, Lansing, Grand Rapids, and I really wanted to go. But my card isn't very good, so I couldn't go unless somebody takes me. And I didn't think I was going to get to go, but luckily, my friend here, Laura, when I told her about it, she said, I'll go. I'm like, yeah. So that's when, and Paula, the thing is, Paula and I have been talking on the phone for months and months because of my shirt, and we get together on the phone, but I never met her in person. I did not know where she'd be. But luckily, when Laura and I went up to Lansing, my gosh, she was there giving interviews, and I got to meet her for the first time. And that's when, I don't know if Barry, do you have that one of us where we're together? And then there's the one of the wetlands, but we're Paula and I. That was that first video that you saw. Yeah, the reel. Yeah, the reel was when our time up there, and I was going to talk about something when you see it, when you get up there. We had a great time in Lansing, and that's where Laura and I met the gal that said about the health problems, and she was fabulous. We couldn't quite hear her. We got there a little bit late, she was finishing up what she was saying, but we knew we wanted to connect with her and see if she would come here, and happily and luckily she did. And even Paula's been saying she would come to one of our meetings, she didn't know when or where, but we decided this, and bless her heart, because last night when she was talking about Gaines Township, it started at 7 o'clock, and it went till, I just thought I'd start watching it with her to see what was what. I ended up being on that, watching it for 5 hours. It got over at 12 midnight, but the people were so compelling in that town. I was just hoping and wishing, I thought, why don't we have this here in Marshall? Because it would change things. These people got up, spoke from their heart. They had facts, but they also had heartfelt concerns about what was happening and what would be happening in their neighborhood. And they stood up, and boy, at the end, I was so happy the council, or I think she said it was the planning commission, did table it. That's a big deal. It really is. It gives time, they paused, and you couldn't help but know that what those people were saying were right. And thank God, even some of those council people, you had to know it. You had to know it. Microsoft was there. It was a really good night, but that's why she was so tired. I didn't think she'd make it here tonight, but bless her heart, she did. But with that, I also get on those sites and I look at a lot because I'm trying to find people, if there are any, and there are, that have been successful in defeating the data center that's trying to be proposed in our town. So when I spent hours and sometimes at night just looking at people and reading things, and I happened upon a gentleman named Prescott Balch. He's from Caledonia, Wisconsin. He was successful in defeating a data center in his town, and I would listen to his blogs and things, and he was on a lot of sites at that time, and his credentials were fabulous. He's a former data center software executive, 30 plus years in the tech infrastructure, and of course successful in stopping in his community. So I thought, wow, I wish I could pick his brain or whatever. I thought, can I call him? I thought, no, you can't call somebody in another state and bother him. He's a big shot guy and everything. But I couldn't help myself. One day, that little angel on one side and the little devil on the other, one of them won. And I called him, and I wasn't prepared because he answered. I didn't think he'd answer an out-of-state call. And when I got him, I said, is this Prescott Balch? And he was actually running for something in his town. And when he answered, I was taken off guard. I didn't have any paper. I should have been prepared. But I did say, well, you got my vote. And that's the first thing that got him to go on my side. He started laughing. Anyway, as he's talking to me, he was so kind, so generous, so nice. And he said, I'm going to give you some homework. So as I wrote down what he told us to do here in Marshall, and I told him our specifics of what we have the wetlands and what our area is about, he then agreed to a PowerPoint and a Zoom call with our group a couple weeks ago, 2.5 hours that he gave up of his time. And I actually said to him, if we owe you money or whatever, and he just kind of laughed. He says, you don't owe me a thing. He said, but if you win, I want a card at Christmas. And I said, hey, you're only in Wisconsin. I said, we can do better than that. We might come and see him. But anyway, okay, so I immediately was drawn to the specifics of how he was able to defeat the data center in his community and what we could learn that we could use to help our community. Anyway, without further ado, this is going to be his presentation, I believe, in his voice. So I hope you enjoyed it. He said the environmental part is very important, and we know that, but that a lot of it is the money thing. The money is what's going to probably tip the scales in your favor about how this is not such a good thing in the end, just like when Dave said, it might be here not very long, and then you're stuck with something, and it's not a good thing. So hope you enjoy the, okay, he's jumping around. You had his PowerPoint thing, right? And then, I'll tell you at the very end, after that's over, if you're still here, what that other video was. I want to explain about that, because it's very interesting, and the news did pick up on it. So with that, if you can, are you going to find the PowerPoint? Or? It was just up there, wasn't it?
Just on the...
I know it.
That wasn't the video of it, that was the PDF.
Oh.
If you want to go through page by page...
No, didn't you have, wasn't there something I had set up for you, or?
Yes, and I downloaded the video, but now when I try to play it, the audio does not come on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you want to walk it through page by page...
I
have it with me. I can read it if I need to.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's try again to load it, and let's see what we can do. It'll give me a minute to find it.
Yeah. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Can you bring it up on YouTube? Or on? Yeah, it's on a couple different places. You should be able to bring it up in some place, not just one I sent you.
I'll bring it up on YouTube.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna tell you right now, Prescott's voice is a lot better than mine.
What's it called on YouTube?
I'm sure. Let's take a look and see if we might see the real deal. I hope.
It's called Data Center Proposals in Small Communities dash Risks and Rewards.
Now, his video is about a half hour long, but it is so well worth it. It's really worth your time. So be patient. He's just remarkable.
Yeah, he's so intelligent and he's thought it through.
And he won.
And he's right. It's worth it.
Check your speaker.
Right there.
Okay, there it is.
That's the audio.
Holy, oh, sorry.
Plug your ears for a
No,
second.
what? Just pull it out. See if it comes in.
Are you using the mouse? Yes.
And just for any of you that want to maybe keep track, like I said, there's a lot of big gas center sites, Citizens Against, data centers in Michigan, and then there's no data centers, there's a couple like that. If you Google, they'll all come up. I've got so many on my sheet, it's like a sure. But our local one is Save Michigan Small Towns here in Marshall, and or Preserve Historic Marshall, Michigan. There's a lot of information on both those two pages, and videos, and there's actual video that they had up, I don't know if you saw in the very beginning, that was Paul and I, that was us when we went up to Grand Rapids. We went from Lansing to Grand Rapids, and we're on channel 8, channel 13, all these kind of things. And one of the things that we were going to do, they had us do in Grand Rapids, was take chalk that kids draw, all this colorful chalk, and they said, leave a message if you want on the big spans between the buildings for all the senators and people that would walk in. And so again, I had the sign that says wetlands. Everybody else is putting no data center, no data center, which is great. But I wanted to do the wetlands because it's for Marshall. And I'm not an artist. Laura is, and other people are, but not me. I do outdoor displays, but I don't draw or paint. But I was like, come on, Holly, do what you can. So I did, and it's big. You're not on a little piece of paper at home with your desk. It's big, spans you're writing. So I tried to get it straight and put protect wetlands, and I had that. And then again on the picture that Lynn drew, she drew 3 cattails, and that was it. And again, she's got to sign that. But I thought, okay, I put protect wetlands. I did in different colors, so you'd notice it. And then I did put 3 cattails, and then I looked at it, and they came out pretty okay. But I wanted mine to be seen there were like 10 other people that put these out there in chalk and all kinds of writing. But I wanted mine to be noticed, so I put a heart. Oh, gosh.
Trying, sorry. Well, we're getting in the mess.
I put a heart around it, so people would absolutely notice that, and I was kind of in the middle. And then at the end, I thought, well, I've got the wetlands, but I thought I needed something that shows like an animal or something, so I thought a turtle. Turtle simple, I can draw a turtle. And I had to Google, I had to put something on there to show, I said, show me something a kid can draw. Hello. So it did, and I tried to outline it, and my gosh, it actually turned out really good. Because there were people there, and even more, the artists, that's really good. So I was happy with that. But the thing I wanted to tell you about it was, if you did notice that beforehand, if you saw the heart where it says protect wetlands, that was Channel 8. Out of all the 10 people that do all these things, they put mine on the news channel. Yeah, so I was really happy.
Is April 21st birthday?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Ties right in.
So, but they chose my thing out of all the other people's tomorrow was put on the Marshall, so I was pretty proud of that.
I think that while we're trying to wait for him to, wait for Mary to try to find that, I think it would be a good time, either, oh my God, madness. I thought maybe it'd be a good time for some questions, if anybody had any questions up to this point. Did anybody have any questions up to this point? Pardon me?
You want to talk about the contract?
Okay, Regis said he would like to talk about the contract that was made between the LDFA and Altera on October 30. Thank you, Regis.
I'll just say I'm not an expert on it, but I have read it. I didn't have to FOIA it, and originally I was denied. I said, how can you deny this when you had an open meeting that was videotaped and went over all the details? And they relented, and they did allow us to get a copy of the agreement. And I did send it out there on Facebook and wherever. If you want a copy, let me know. The LDFA is a land development finance authority. It is an authority set up under the city. They're in charge of the Brooks Industrial Park, and the taxes, the incremental taxes there are put back into the park for utilities, roads, sewers, that kind of thing. And so they actually own the land and not the city. That's why the agreement is with the LDFA and not the city. Although the city has to be directly involved because all the promises in there and all the requirements really land on the city. The LDFA is really just the land agent really in this. They'll sign it, but all the details and obligations are carried on into the city. There were two particular parts that I found important.
We're going to finish up. We're going to go ahead and read through the
Okay.
document.
I won't be too long, but
Okay, thank you.
in Article 3 of that agreement, it talks about the seller cooperation. And the city, or the LFA, really the city said, yeah, we agree to cooperate in you getting permits and getting zoning if needed, just about anything that they would need. It's in actually a couple places in there. Wasn't toward the back, of course. One, it's called seller cooperation, and it pretty much says that they have to get connection to ITC, the high voltage lines, bring those in. They have to get interchange with pipeline, the effective pipeline that goes through there. They have to get permits from EGLE for the water, and all these things have to be done. That's why they're doing their due diligence to see if they can get this done. But the city says, okay, we'll cooperate with you in doing that, and in getting any city requirements, any building permits, and all that kind of stuff, which sounds a little stay under him. But, you know, it's usually the seller doesn't cooperate with the buyer. But the city is so desperate at trying to sell this that it's been on the market for about 25 years and they haven't been able to sell it. Now they're looking at maybe we can tie all this together. Of course, half of it's wetlands. It's 270 acres. I think 112 is actually wetlands. And it's in the document here. The other thing was the confidentiality. There haven't been any individual NDA signed with this. They don't need them. With this agreement, it covers everybody. It's kind of like a committee NDA. They can't reveal any of the studies, any of the environmental assessments, anything. So, well, the city can't either. Any agent that's working with them, and they're working with them right now, you know, how much water, they know how much water is going to be used. They know how much wastewater is going to be generated. They can't tell you that because they signed this. I think it was very stupid of the city to do this. They kind of bound themselves in with this project. They should not have done that. They should have taken some time, studied it, and then maybe signed it. But that's a problem, and they might not be able to get out of it. I'm a little worried about that because they've got some obligation through this because of the seller obligations and the confidentiality in this agreement. I've been trying to get them to put a moratorium on this, do your own research, your own due diligence, put some regulations and ordinances in place that will protect the environment, the neighbors, all of and they say, well, this is zoned industrial and that'll cover it, but really we've brought up issues that are unique to data centers, the noise, the low frequency, and especially the power generation is going to be huge. That's probably more noisy, more polluting than the data center itself. I mean, these are huge turbines. I worked for Consumers Energy for many years on the gas side, so I know what these things look like and how they operate. So I just want to say, if you want a copy, I can send people a copy of this, but get involved, write your council, write your representatives.
People are, all their emails,
mine's
on the top, you're welcome to ask me questions, I can try to answer.
Especially the one on the bottom.
The bottom one, Jan Jarvis, oh yeah, that.
Tara themselves.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never heard that before, but I know there's several council people who don't want this, but they might be trapped. I don't think it's a majority. And by the signing this agreement, there might be, obligated anyway. So please attend, please write, and put in your 2 cents worth, because that's the one thing that works.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read through the PowerPoint. I'm sorry I don't have Prescott Balch's voice.
I've got it right here. Here, I've got it right here.
Oh, you got it?
Yep, right here. It's easier to read because it's not printed. Yep.
I read better, actually.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
teacher mode. Okay. About Prescott. He's a retired technology executive, 38-year in large corporate software development, mainly financial services. I'm going to use he instead of I. Firmly believes that we need data centers. Where they belong is the real question. I'm going to skip right through all of this.
Look, they can read what's up, the big ones. Just read the fine print.
The fine print?
Yeah.
Okay,
We don't
in
have all
summer
that.
of 2025, a proposal showed up in my hometown. The location was terrible. The financial risk was high. The village hadn't done its homework. They were in over their heads badly, and they were ramming it through the same approval process they use for approving a simple zoning change. In a stressful 7 weeks, the community rose up and we convinced the developer to withdraw 1 week before the final vote was looking like a toss-up. Since then, I've been trying to educate communities on what I know about the industry and what risks the developers won't tell you about. My goal is leveling the information playing field, communities making decisions for communities with all of the facts, not just the ones presented by the developers.
Okay, how about we flip it, I'll do a page, then you do the next one. Is that
All
okay? Okay, oh, I'm gonna need a microphone. Maybe, I'm pretty big mouth.
That's why I get to do this, because I'm pretty big mom. I find in most communities, there are pro-data factions that think the economic benefits justify the proposal, that there are anti-data center factions that oppose it for reasons other than financial. The two sides largely talk past each other, and neither moved by the other's arguments, and healthy decision-making suffers. My goal is to help balance the rewards the tech industry is telling you about with the risks they aren't talking about. The developers will tell you all the benefits of their community. The developers will tell you all the benefits to your community, and they will often overstate them. They will always avoid telling you about the risks. Uncovering those and using them in your decision making is your job as a community and as local officials. Those other risks, existential threats, energy, water, all deserve some research and weighting in your community's decision matrix. I am not suggesting they are bad or good arguments, just that I'm not going to talk about them. I'll also leave out the emotional appeals to the community character and the vision of your community. I argue that for our own community, but the argument was unique to my community, and I don't pretend to know yours. For a small community, this would be the largest decisions you'll ever make, the most financial impact, and the most dramatic land use change. Make the decision openly with the community, with full information, balancing risk and reward, protecting yourself against the identified risks if you do decide to proceed. Small communities with large open spaces and proximity to power have all the leverage in the current data center siting market. You can ask for almost anything right now and get it. And he's talking to the city people. Your community, your choice. Each community is different. You want to do the rewards one?
I'm on Caledonia's story, I don't know where you are.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
Oh, I know why you're on Caledonia. In this copy, I missed Caledonia's story. Go ahead and do that one.
Okay, Caledonia's story, which is funny because Michigan has a Caledonia and I don't talk there. So Caledonia's story, every community is different, every proposal is different. Why did Caledonia residents object? One, they fiercely protective of our rural charm. Two, parcel location was terrible. Three, financially a bad idea for the village. And four, well, knowing your reasons for objecting and being clear on those reasons. Remember, you are only as good as your worst reason. And this says, before diving into the general financial arguments against hyperscale data, I'm too close to this.
You're doing it, not me? I thought it was me.
Yep, it's this. I'm gonna put on my glasses. No, that's not gonna work. I'll tell you the Caledonia story. Proposal landed in July 2025. Microsoft withdrew its proposal in early October, the first week before the final vote. In that time, we went from a few people trying to organize to overflow in the parking lot at the city council meeting. Every step of the way got more mad, and the ones already mad got madder. Did we care so much? To start, Caledonia is a unique community bonded by suburban sprawl to the north, Oak Creek, Lake Michigan to the east, urban Racine to the south, and I-94 to the west. From Milwaukee to Chicago, along the Lake Michigan, there is precious little open space, and we are the one large chunk of it. People moved to this community because of that open space. We have an active local conservancy organization, a large horseback riding community, public-private riding and hiking trails, active farms, lots of green space, and yet we're still less than 30 minutes from downtown Milwaukee. Our detractors call us anti-development, but our proponents call us fierce protectors of open space and rural charm. We just think we want to protect Caledonia as a great place to live. We also have a power plant across the northeast corner of our town until the data center gold rush started, and that was a drawback, not a feature. The energy company had purchased 250 acres of land across from the street from its power plant inside our boundaries as a legal buffer against the pollution complaints. We enjoyed it as a visual buffer as well. The parcel was nowhere near commercial development and was near low-density residential homes. A terrible place for a purpose-built data center. It screamed of long-term risk if building ever went empty. The village also did a terrible job analyzing the financial risks of the deal. It was a significant financial risk, concentration risk too. Much revenue from a single taxpayer in a single industry. There was no estimate for increased service costs to the village. The pitch was, it's all revenue and no cost. It's forever. We're in over our heads dealing with such a huge project, and we were blindly chasing dollars, not bothering to ask simple questions.
Go ahead and put up the next screen. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna flip through this a little more
Oh,
quickly.
you already read this one.
Yeah, let's go flip the next one. Okay, I put my email address on that page. And if you want this whole thing emailed to you, I will gladly email you this, because it's gonna take way too long, and it's just goofy for us to read this thing, it would take too long. This page is about rewards, and no one can deny the benefits. Click to the next one, please.
Eye-watering tax revenues.
Yeah, you think so. And then the benefit myth, direct jobs. Yeah, no, there's not.
But another benefit myth, economic benefits, low number of jobs are absorbed by a local economy. Multiplier effect only works with scale. Data centers do not attract, they detract.
Yeah. Go ahead, flip.
Okay.
Or is it just benefit myth economic, is that what you just said?
Risk financial concentration, the
Oh
technology.
my goodness, yeah. Would you look at that circle there? That is an example of a small city in Wisconsin. The concentration risk.
Data center valuation is in blue at 41.5%, and the remaining valuation is in red.
What they're saying is that city depended on that data center so much that when that data center goes down, they're just like, boop.
You don't want all your eggs to be in one basket.
Not all your eggs in one basket. Thank you, Barry. This page talks about why the gold rush, and it says our good old buddy Mark Zuckerberg is willing to, that.
If we end up misspending a couple $100 billion, I think that is going to be very unfortunate, obviously.
Yeah, and according to Prescott, we're just barely starting to go up that first hill. He doesn't know when we're gonna hit the top, but there's gonna be a problem.
It's a bubble.
Yeah.
It is a very
Which the
big
next
bubble.
page tells about the risk of a bursting the bubble. And I thought, I'd love if I have in my hand. What's beyond that one?
Hang on.
Is that the last? I can't remember.
There's more.
I thought there was. I don't know where.
Risk obsolescence.
Oh, yeah, because you know what? They're not gonna be here.
It's too expensive to upgrade.
I told you I wouldn't.
Evaluation and
Complain,
no
didn't I?
not cost effective to operate. And that can happen within your first 6 to 12 years of having the data center. The technology has become obsolete.
Yeah, so long story short, we really need to get this out so people can watch it. We have given it to each of the city council members. I've given them a
They
copy of
didn't
it.
show
And I
up
sent
tonight.
them.
They were invited.
Hold on. We're not going to do that. We have sent them the video. We have sent it to many people, and we'll be glad to send it to others, you. requested. I wanted to give you guys a chance to ask questions, and we'll try to answer them if anybody has more questions. Is there any other question that we didn't hit earlier? I know we got some.
Can we get that microphone out there?
Can we get one now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that we can hear the questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Take the microphone to the person.
Thank you.
Question.
Oh, I got it. Everybody had their hand up.
That's good. There was a lot of information, and you guys hung in there. Seriously, make sure you grab one of these. It's got all the email addresses. I don't know. Come to the meetings.
Or write.
Or write.
At this point, if you're not an emailer, physical letters do work, because my dad was on the city council, and I do remember him coming home from City Hall with bundled letters, and he would go through them all. So,
But time is of the
so what would
essence.
you say in a letter? I mean, other than the fact that you lived in the community for blah, blah years, and.
Yeah, you would say that.
And you feel that this is going to be detrimental to the community.
You could say that.
And our children,
Yeah.
our.
And ask any questions you want to ask them. They are responsible to answer to us.
They must answer.
They must
They don't
answer
have
to
to
us.
answer at the city council meeting.
They won't. They will not answer the city council meetings.
Okay. So just be polite, but stay
Right.
there.
That's why we were trying really hard. And it's such an emotional thing. This whole process of being completely bulldozed is so emotional.
Yeah, like we're ready to kick. We have children and grandchildren.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. This is home. This is our home.
Some of the wards are coming up for re-election this year, and I've got a game plan. Ward 1, 3, and 5, along with Mayor, will be coming up. I'm going to ask the citizens to run so we can regain our town back, just like we did in Marshall Township. We did it. We can do it again.
Because we need to do it before it gets to the state that the
I agree.
battery plant.
I agree.
You know,
The only way is to get them out, and that's our only recourse, is for somebody in this
Can you say
town
that
to
in here
stand
so
up.
that others can hear it better? You're good.
whatever we do, we need to do it now until it gets to the same state that the battery plant did.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're disputing that.
There's,
There's what?
I heard tell that there was a ruling that was going to happen on this data center property on May 2nd. Am I hearing wrong?
You heard that it's going to be available for them to make a move, or they can choose to get another 180 days to do more due process. It's a decision day,
Well,
and it's a big deal.
May 2nd is a Saturday.
May 2nd is
Maybe it's May 1st. It's probably May 1st then.
It's a Friday.
Yeah, I heard May 1st or 2nd.
That's the end of the 180 day period.
Altona's got to do some tests on the site. You guys that live at the lake, keep your eyes peeled out for those people.
Write those letters to Altera
Correct.
first. And
Can I close this thing? Is that good? Okay.
Okay.
Something about these microphones are making us really goofy and we're tired.
We're standing
Okay, so our big message is use your voice, we're stronger together. And I just wanted to close with a Jane Goodall quote. She said, "Don't lose hope. If you lose hope, you become apathetic and do nothing. And if you want to save what is still beautiful in this world, if you want to save the planet for future generations, your grandchildren, their grandchildren, then think about the actions you do each day. I want you to know that your life does matter, and that every single day you live, you make a difference in the world, and you get to choose the difference that you make." Jane Goodall. Thank you so much for coming. Let's do this.